Hey everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to talk about this ComfyUI custom node. It's called output list combiner, and it basically gives us a way to handle multi-prompts. We can also do native XYZ grid plot directly inside of ComfyUI. It also has other features which I'm going to explore today. Now, essentially what it's doing is basically giving us a way to solve the issue that we were having before, and that is to experiment inside of ComfyUI, like directly inside of ComfyUI. This output list combiner will allow us to create XYZ grid. We can also do batch comparisons, and all of that without complex nodes, without complex node spaghetti or even external scripts. In the description of this video, you will get this link. It will take you to GitHub repository, and you will see the project here, ComfyUI output list combiner. On the right side, you will see the about. I'm going to ignore the spreadsheet and JSON for today, since these two are mainly for API calls. If you have your own application and you need a workflow that works with JSON or with spreadsheets, then you can use these two file format and then load it directly inside of ComfyUI. For most of you, you will mainly be using the multi-line text. We can use numbers as well, and we can also do combination of lists and prompts, which I'm going to show you. Now, going down the list, we see an overview of everything that we can do. Again, these two I will not cover, but everything else I'm going to cover. You can check the timestamp in the description below if you would like to jump to a specific section. Now, the repository is well documented. You will see the table of content here, and if I keep on scrolling, you will see it keeps on going. Actually, let me zoom out. This is how much content that you will see in that repository. So take your time, read it afterwards. I'm going to go through explaining the nodes, how to use them inside ComfyUI in a scenario, but you can of course read the documentation to find out more. In terms of installation, I will be using the ComfyUI manager method. Unless you have a manual ComfyUI installation and you do not have the manager, then you can use the ComfyUI CLI or the manual method. This is my system, so you can see my CPU, GPU. Here's my memory. I'm using 32 GB of memory, and these are the drivers and CUDA version. As for ComfyUI, I have ComfyUI up to date. This is today's date, and my front end as well is up to date. And at the bottom here, you can see some of the stats here. Now, you don't need to have a similar system to use the custom node, since this is just a custom node that you can apply to any workflow, even SD 1.5 or SDXL workflows. Okay, so let's take a look at how to install this. First, go into the manager at the top. One more thing, you can see here under import times for custom nodes, I have only the ComfyUI manager installed. I'm going to show you all the steps to install the custom nodes. If you have other custom nodes, it's possible that you already have a couple of nodes installed. You can skip those steps, or you can update those custom nodes to the latest version. This way you will see everything that I'll be showing today. Now, once you have ComfyUI updated, your manager as well updated, we'll go inside the manager here and then click on custom node manager. At the top here, you can search for output list and then look for this one, output list combiner. Right now, for the purpose of this video, I've installed it and disabled it, which is why it shows as enable. But for you, if you don't have it, it will show as install. Click on install, and it may ask you to choose your version. I'm using the latest version, which is at the time of recording 0.0.11. Select that, click on select. It will proceed to install it, and after completing, it will tell you at the bottom here that you will need to restart ComfyUI. You can click on this restart button. It will ask you to reboot the server. Click on confirm, and once again, after it's completed, at the bottom here you will see after ComfyUI restart, please refresh your browser. Click on confirm confirm here to refresh your browser. You can check the terminal to confirm that you have the ComfyUI output list underscore combiner installed, and there is no import fail here. It's loaded correctly. Now I'm going to show you some of the example workflows that comes with this custom node. You can go into the templates folder here, actually the tab, and this will open like this. You may have more on the left side. Now here, scroll all the way down until you see extensions, and then you will see the ComfyUI output list. If you have a smaller resolution monitor, you may not even see the name. Hover over the title and you will see the full name here, ComfyUI output list combiner. Click on it and you will see some of the workflows, the example workflows that is provided. Now I'm going to recommend you to start with example 0. You may have to scroll down. As you can see, I've scrolled down about middle of the page, and then you can select example underscore 00 simple output list. Now it's possible that once you load the workflow, it will tell you that you are missing models. And if we examine the model, it's just the SD 1.5 model. Now you don't need to have this specific model in order to use the custom node. You can apply this custom node on any workflow. Now from this view here, by the way, if you don't see everything, you can click on a blank space and then press period on your keyboard. It will show everything. You can dismiss the message if you want to, and then select this green one, press period to zoom in on it. This is the string output list. It's the simplest node that you can get from this pack, and essentially what it does, it will allow you to separate your prompt into individual lines, and then we pass these lines one at a time to the positive prompt. So in this specific case, we have cat, dog, rat, and bat. When we pass this to the model, we'll get 4 different images. These are individual images and they correspond to each one here. So instead of typing cat, clicking on Q prompt, wait for it to complete, and then go type in dog, again wait for it to complete, repeat for all of these to get 4 images. You can get all 4 images using a single run. Now as you can see, the default model is not very good, so I'm going to switch to a better workflow. Okay, so this is the Zimage Turbo workflow. You can get it from the templates folder. Just search for Zimage Turbo at the top, or if you have any workflow that you would like to test this with, you can integrate it. I'm going to show you how to do it. So right now I've replicated what we have. This is my positive prompt. I've typed in cat, dog, mouse, and bat, each in a separate line. And when I generate it, you can see I have a single image. Everything is in it. We basically have the cat, mouse is here. We have a bat on top of it. And I don't see the dog basically. So what we'll need to do is double click on an empty space. Now, if you have too many nodes like I do, you can click on extensions. By the way, if you don't see this view and you still have the old version, you will need to update your ComfyUI to the latest version. So click on extensions, and then from the list here, we'll select output list combiner. Now from here, you can see we have quite a bit of nodes to go through. The simplest one is the string output list. Click on it and then place it just above your prompt. Now, let me go through explaining how this works. So we essentially have 2 input fields. We have this separator here, and then we have the string at the bottom where it says string separated with new lines, and then try to connect the inspect combo with combo input. We'll take a look at what this second part is, but basically we have a text field at the top and then a multi-line text field at the bottom. For outputs, we have value, we have index, we have the count, and then we have this inspect combo. Now, I just told you that you can type in your prompt as separate line. So basically you can have one line and then you press enter. You have a second line, press enter, and then you keep on repeating it. In order for this node to consider each line as a prompt, you will need to type in a separator here. This basically a backslash, and then we have n like number. This means a new line. You can also have other type of separators. For example, if you don't want to have new line as your separator, you can use a comma as separator. So for example, you can type in a prompt, comma, another prompt, comma, another prompt like this. So this depends on how you're more comfortable in typing your prompt. It also plays where, and if you're getting your prompt from somewhere else, let's say you go to ChatGPT and you copy from ChatGPT, you paste it here, you find out that ChatGPT is using new line, you can simply use this new line backslash and n to separate the prompt. If ChatGPT is giving you cat, comma, dog, then click on separator, type in comma there to automatically separate your prompts. So let's do an example here. I'm going to do cat, comma, dog, and let's just do mouse, and I believe we had bat. So right now you can see I have comma. I'm going to remove the space. Normally when you type in it, we like for readability, we type in a space in between, but right now since we are using a separator and it's going to automatically cut the prompt into individual prompts, so I'm going to remove the space there. So we have cat, comma, dog. My separator in this case will become a comma like this. Now, if my prompt was cat, enter, dog, enter like this, then we'll use this a special notation. Basically, it's like programming. We have a backslash and end, press enter, and this signifies a new line. Now, just like this, it's not going to do anything. We need to connect it to the existing workflow. So let me do the same prompt here, cat, dog, mouse, and bat. The value is what you will connect to your workflow. The index, it's the programming way where we have 0 as cat, number 1 or index 1 will be dog, index 2 is mouse, index 3 is going to be bat. And you can actually use this to separate your prompt in some more complex scenarios where you can put a range. You will need to have other nodes, but you can use a range to select the different rows that you have. Now count will just tell you how many lines that you're going to have after the split, and we'll take a look at inspect_combo just yet. Now, in order to visualize everything, I'm going to recommend that you click on value, drag out, and you can search for preview as text. This is a built-in node, and click on it and place it somewhere else. So I'm going to disable my workflow for now so that I don't run this workflow. And I will going to copy, basically duplicate this preview as text. You can press Alt on your keyboard, click on the node, hold down the Alt key, and then click and drag to get a duplicate. So I'm going to do this 4 times, and let's take a look at the output of these 4 that we have here. Now actually the inspect combo works slightly differently, so we'll ignore this for now. Okay, so remember I have 4 things in here separated by a new line, and my separator is new line. Let's click on the prompt. Now it's completed. Now you can see what's happening. The value is giving us the individual lines separated. So we have cat, this is one prompt, dog, another prompt, mouse, and bat as separated prompts. And then, like I said, the index is just the numbers in programmatically method is starting with the index 0. And then the count will tell you how many prompts you're going to get. So right now we have 4. Okay, so now that we know it's the value that we need to connect, we can connect this node, the value, click on it, drag, and you connect it to the text input of your positive or negative prompt. You can also use this for negative if you need to. So let me enable everything and let's queue or run it. Now you will see something happening here in the case sampler, basically. Now I'm sure you know at the top here, it shows you the progress of your case sampler. So right now you can see it's doing cat, and I have my progress right here. So it's about to complete. The moment it completes, it goes into the next line. So now it's doing dog. You can see my output has not changed. It is still running the case sampler. So here we go. We have a mouse and it will run once again to do bat. There you go. It's doing bat right now. Now, after completing this, then only it will go into VAE Decode and then into your preview image or save image. And these are individual images. You can see here, I have 1 out of 4. This is the cat, dog, mouse, and a bat. So basically, this is how it works. Let's do an actual scenario where we have different prompts. All right, so I've copied and pasted my prompt in here. Let me open a notepad here and let's make this bigger. Now you can see these two are in separate lines. So we have this as my first prompt, then this one as my second prompt. Now you'll see that I'm using the same wording pretty much everywhere. I'm just changing like the subject and the style. So this is one way that you can use this node. Now it may be a little bit difficult to know whether you have a new line or it's just like continuing to the next line. If you are having difficulty, you can do like I did, just copy everything, paste it in a notepad or something else, or you can also just resize it to see whether it's one line or we have a break in the line. So now I'm going to Q prompt and you will see here it's going to separate it into these individual prompts, the top one and bottom one, and in here it's doing the I guess Cyberpunk Samurai one. Once completed, it will automatically go into the second one, Forest Druid. After completing, it goes into VAE Decode, and then we have the two images here like this. Okay, so this should be quite simple. Next, let's take a look at what this inspect combo is. So I'm going to remove everything from my text field here. Now this inspect combo works slightly different. You will need to connect this to a combo field, and by combo field I mean any of these. So for example, in load diffusion model, I have different models. So I have all of these models, and you can connect this inspect combo to this drop down basically. And when you do that, it will give you a list of everything that is available under this drop down. You can do the same with any drop down. So for example, we have weight D type. I can put it there and it tells me all the options I have available. Most commonly, you will be using it with the case sampler. So let's go near the case sampler here, and you can see that the seed is not a drop down. The sampler name is one and the scheduler is another. Okay, so if we take the inspect combo, let's do it to the sampler name first. You will see we have a list of everything that is available in the sampler name. Now you're probably thinking how to use this. So let's take a look here. I have this preview as text. Let me disable my output node so I don't run the workflow. If I run this with just this preview as text, you will see it's going to separate these ones into a separate line. So we have Euler or Euler at the top, and then each one is separated. Now for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to remove most of these. Otherwise, it's going to run too many times. By the way, we can find out how many times this workflow will run by just connecting the count to a preview as text. And it will tell me here that I have 44 times, like 44 rows here. So it's going to run 44 times. So I'm going to keep these two, where we are going to make as if the inspect combo has only two. By the way, these, after you do this inspect combo, so after you take this and you connect it to something and you get the output, you can edit this field. This is editable. The way to use it is you will connect this value to the unit. So let's remove this. We don't need text and we don't need sampler here. All right. So now you can see instead of connecting to the positive prompt, I am connecting my string output list to the load diffusion model directly like this, right? So what's going to happen is that it will run this workflow once with whatever text that you put in here using this model, the top one. And then it will run it again using this one. That's going to be the second one. And this will be automated. You don't have to do anything. Then it will do a third one, fourth, sixth, until it goes to the last one, completes, and then you will see your output here. So like I said, most of you will be using it with the case sampler. So once again, I'm going to take inspect combo, go into the sampler. So take inspect combo into sampler name in order to get the list, and now you can edit this list. I'm going to keep Euler or Euler, and then let's say we can keep the ERSDE as our second option. All right, so now I have two lines. Once again, I'm going to add that show preview as text. This way you can see how it's going to show up. And as an example, I'm just going to do the test. So let's do the Cyberpunk Samurai one. When I click on Q prompt, you will see it separates it as Euler ERSDE. And let me enable my output node here, otherwise the workflow is not going to run. So let's run it, and you will see here it will go into the case sampler, and right now it's doing the Euler one. So this is my first one. So this one will be Euler as my sampler name. And then it goes again. You can see my K sampler is running a second time, and it's going to be for the ER_SD. And in here, I have two images. And now I can take a look at which sampler gives me the better result. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I've removed most of the options that we had here, but you can keep all of them, like all 44 of them. And when you click on QPrompt, you will get 44 results. Now, here's a tip from my side. So if you are running too many options in here, it's possible that you will run out of VRAM when it comes to decoding the final images. So in that case, replace this VAE decode. You can replace it with a VAE Decode Tiled, and then just choose a tile size that is appropriate for the amount of VRAM that you have, and you should not run into any out of memory error. All right, so in this case, we can see that this is the output from Euler. This is image number 1, and then this is image number 2. This is from the ERSD. So I think I prefer both. Actually, they pretty much are same, but that's how you can test the different values.